Welcome back to STFN Talk Radio. We're going to be talking about the propaganda in the news today and taking calls from the audience. But there's big news to cover. World War III is on the horizon. We got the monkeypox outbreak that's just out of control according to the media. It's spreading from the homosexual community to the regular world. That way people aren't going to want to touch each other anymore. They're not going to want to make children anymore. This is part of the Agenda 2030. Make everybody gay, give them monkeypox. And some people might say, oh, there's no such thing as monkeypox. But chances are this is going to become like the new herpes. And the next time you go on a date, you're going to get sores all over. New bioweapon has been released by Bill Gates and company. And it turns out they made the vaccine for this thing in 2019. So they're ready for it. And what's really strange is that in the propaganda, they're like, this thing is so rare, we'll never see it in the United States. Back in 2019, as they approve the first vaccines that probably won't work, but in any case, they're going to keep releasing bioweapons because it works. And so they can just declare a new emergency, lockdowns, you need papers, you need vaccines, you need to listen to us, we're relevant. And of course, things are getting real hot in the Far East. The Chinese are just freaking out. Not only because of Nancy Pelosi, but because it's basically been confirmed that the COVID bioweapon, whether a virus, a bacteria, or some type of parasite, was manufactured in a U.S. lab, released in China to make it look like a Chinese virus. And so the Chinese are pissed off, the Russians are pissed off, regular people are pissed off. And in some countries, there's an uprising. In our country, not so much. We're getting news that the leadership of the 3% is facing 7 to 10 years in prison. So they're trying to send a clear message to the resistance in America. If you resist, we'll put you in prison for 10 years. So it is what it is. They're trying to give everybody a cold shower, but essentially people have to make a stand or there'll be nothing left to fight for. This system is so evil. They're stealing elections. They're grooming our children. They're spraying us like bugs, poisoning the food, the air, the water, releasing bioweapons, injecting people with the death vax. And now they're trying to feed you bugs. It's coming out in the stores. Bug burgers, bug chips, bug jerky. It's crazy, man. But we're getting reports of a housing bubble bursting in numerous countries right now, America included. Housing prices are dropping fast. The layoffs are beginning. And it's just a matter of time before things just implode in America, like in 2008. So enjoy your summer because it's going to be another dark winter one way or another. These people just don't quit because we allow them to continue with their jobs. It's really up to the people to take control of the situation. But the brainwashing is so intense that many people are just plugged into the matrix. They can't handle the truth. They don't want to know what's coming. Essentially, it's like a cult of death out there. Fresh bugs in the supermarket. That's the new thing now. We're showing that in video for the audience that's listening on Telegram. We're going to go to the audience and see what people think out there about the current situation, about the current propaganda. If you want to join in the broadcast, just hit tap to speak. And we'll get you on the show. See what people have to say, but we may just cut you off. It just kind of depends. We're going to try Pez first. United in Truth We Stand. We're going to activate your microphone. Go ahead and unmute on your side if you want to talk. But you're live on Stranger Than Fiction News. Anybody out there? Pez, can you hear me? Seems like we're having some technical difficulty. We're going to try Insomnia. See if Insomnia is out there. Just go ahead and unmute your microphone, Insomnia, if you want to say something about the current propaganda out there. Anybody out there? Oh, this is working so well before, but we try to bring the audience into a show and...
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Okay, I listened to you, what you said before, and I'm from Germany in advance. I'm from Germany, and I listened to you, what you said before, and there's one thing I cannot agree with.
Yeah.
You said the Third World War is coming, like that, but that's imagination. It's the Second World War never ends. It never ends up because there are 55 missing contracts of peace with with 54 states. They are not there, and so the Second World War never ends.
Okay, I totally get the gist of your call. And obviously, the Nazis never really lost the war. They just basically mutated and took over from within. They basically hijacked all of our countries. And we're basically dealing with the same mindset as the Nazis in World War II. Show us your health pass, show us your papers, we're going to lock you down, here comes the Gestapo, and so on and so forth. And essentially, you know, we brought in all of these Nazis during Operation Paperclip, and little by little, they've just taken over. And so that's a real good point. You know, this is kind of like an extension of World War II, and essentially we're seeing the Fourth Reich in the EU right now. The Germans have taken over the continent once again, and America isn't coming to save us, or save the Europeans, I should say, because they've been taken over as well. And so who's going to save the world now? Perhaps the Russians, perhaps nobody. Perhaps we have to save ourselves. I think a lot of us are hoping that we're just going to be rescued. But it should be pretty obvious by now that we're not going to be rescued. We're going to have to fight this ourselves. And so people should prepare. I mean, people have been preparing, but they should be committed and understand that this is a war. This system is trying to exterminate everyone. We're going to continue on with the calls. We're going to try Julene out there. See what she has to say. Julene, if you're out there, just unmute your microphone and tell us what you think about.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you. How's it going?
It's going well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, but I was born in South Africa. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thanks for coming on the show. What do you think about the current situation out there?
Oh, I have something to contribute about monkeypox because I thought it was very interesting how they're using this whole very bizarre homosexual spin. which just seems so counter narrative, you know, to the whole pride, LGBTQ, bowing to Baphomets and all that. And somebody on your group actually was in there and contacted me privately and told me, can you tell me more about the homosexual manifesto from 1987 that I posted in your group? They told us what their whole plan was, you know, how they're not coming in and just being nice and so on. And he told me actually he is homosexual, and he is shocked by the things he's learning. And so I probed a bit, and after a while I was like, well, have you taken the vaccine? And he said yes. And I thought, oh, no, you've taken the vaccine? That's so bizarre in these groups. Usually people in these groups haven't taken the vaccine. And I said to him, why did you take it? Because, you know, typically the reason is, you know, oh, I was going to lose my job, or I was scared or something. And he said to me, I took it because men wouldn't have sex with me if I wouldn't take the vaccine. They want you to be fully vaxxed, fully boosted.
Oh
and
yeah.
I thought, huh.
Oh yeah, they can't
Very
attend
interesting.
the piss parties unless they're fully vaccinated for monkeypox now. But it's not going to protect them. It's so disturbing. It's so disgusting, like the whole homosexual thing. And we really want to do, you know, just a couple of shows on that, because it is beyond disturbing what they do to children, how they're just so perverted, and they'll just, you know, come up to you and just ruin your day. You know, I mean, anybody that's ever had an encounter with a homosexual, I mean, it's just, you know, pretty much mind-blowing for the most part. You just can't imagine, you know, saying this kind of stuff to people. But keep going, Julian. What else can we talk about?
No, so I was just thinking about that. You know, I was thinking, because it's so counter narrative, and then I was thinking of former KGB defector, you know, from Russia to Canada, Yuri Bezmenov, who said that we don't have to worry about the leftists because they're just political idiots, and they're just being used to subvert society and bring down the current order. But in the end, they'll be lined up against the wall and shot. And I just thought, wow, is this perhaps them starting to take down these people like, you know, BLM, Antifa, LGBTQ, eventually saying like, we don't need you anymore because you've already destroyed society. So eventually we're going to discard you because you've done your job for us.
Absolutely. I mean, basically, we're all expendable out there, and it's just a matter of time before they, you know, take out the useful or useless idiots. And obviously, you know, a lot of these libtards that got the COVID vax now have the VAIDS. Now they're, you know, they got the monkeypox, and you know what's next for these people is an interesting question. But eventually, I mean, they'll take out the cops, they'll take out the military that they don't need. But at first, they got to take out the 3%. At first, they got to take out the resistance. And so we're the prime target right now. Everybody should remember that. Everybody listening out there is a target of the system, and they're using silent weapons, microwave weapons to target people. And so tons of, you know, anti-vaxxers and truthers have been hit with heart attacks and strokes and cancers because they've spoken out. And they make it look like natural causes, so nobody asks any questions like, you know, what happened to Epstein? Why'd they turn the cameras off? What happened on 9/11? You know, they don't like people asking too many questions. We're going to move on to the next caller. We're just going to cruise through here, but we're doing a live show recording for the audience. But if you want to call in, just hit tap to speak on the Telegram. And we're going to move on to Agent Max. See if Agent Max is out there. This should be fun. We're going to activate your microphone. Just unmute to speak if you're out there, Agent Max.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I can hear you now.
Hey, how's it going? So first of all, I'm living in Canada, but I'm basically burning. So I'm living in Canada.
Yeah, well, seems like we lost that connection. We're going to move on to Marco in the morning. Marco, if you're out there, unmute your microphone. Tell us what's going on. What do you think of the propaganda out there?
Hi, Ron. I'm enjoying the show, actually. I'm just enjoying the speed with which they took over from one bat How big was this one bat, anyways?
Well,
The fact that the world.
yeah, I mean, it's gone from the one bat to it came out of a box, and we always knew the vaccines weren't going to work. And so
Right? Yeah, Brixton.
everybody should be pretty pissed off right now.
So the propaganda, I don't want to go into a list of, can you imagine what this happened and China did this and Pelosi and Russia, because it never ends, Ron. That's the purpose. This whole world is misdirection. The Prince of Darkness rules this world. And the idea is to get our mind off of God. And it's doing a marvelous job. The old joke that the devil is on vacation in Bermuda because we're doing fine by ourselves is coming to pass. You say it all the time. The pages of the book popping off the page. You also talk about terraforming. It's obvious. I mean, every one of us listening can do it. They're poisoning the air, the food, the water. They're spraying you like bugs. They're irradiating. Moo cows. And so, if we remember War of the Worlds, most of us have seen some version of that, haven't you, Ron?
Yes,
War
sir.
of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Old one, new one. Okay. So, the only reason they lost, they had superior weapons, they had force fields. The only reason they lost was they couldn't breathe our atmosphere. Okay, take two. Real easy. They come back with stronger shields? No. They turn our atmosphere more into their atmosphere. So you say it all the time, terraforming. We know they're terraforming something. So, therefore, whatever they're putting in our atmosphere must match some other atmosphere. I, and only I, Marco in the Morning, on STFN Radio, with Ron Johnson, will tell you it's not from Alpha Centauri or Martians that's way too far away. It's over our other shoulder. The Venusians. Is Venus closer or farther away from the sun than us, Rob?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say what's going on out there, Marco.
Okay. Well, again, we're just using the geophysical model. So it's a lot hotter. The surface temperature on Venus is about 400 degrees. So it's freezing here for them. Well, we're getting a little bit warmer. The atmosphere in Venus matches exactly what we put in our atmosphere every day. Listen to this. This is the biggie. And 95% CO, fluorine, chlorine, sulfur dioxide is the atmosphere. Now they give us.
Oh, I think we just lost that connection. But obviously, it looks like they live out there. Obviously, it looks like there's some kind of alien agenda going on, and terraforming could be part of it, or they could just be gassing us. It's hard to say, if they want to turn this planet into their planet, or if they just want to rob us of our resources. Maybe they want the water, maybe they want the gas. Maybe advanced civilizations use hydrocarbons for some type of advanced technology as well. It's really hard to say exactly what their endgame is besides exterminating humanity. And whatever their endgame is beyond exterminating humanity is really irrelevant, because we should want to survive what's happening. We should want to survive what's going on. You'd think survival instincts would just kick in. Knowing what we know about the current situation is just that it's real tough in certain places. In America right now, it's real tough to do a 1776 unless everybody's on the same page. And so eventually we're going to have to get there. We're going to have to get on that same page and end this occupation, this alien occupation that's using proxies and front groups like the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. But there's a stranglehold on humanity right now, and it's Nazi-like, it's alien-like. But you have to remember, Marco was making a real good point. We're up against some type of alien civilization. Some people call it the devil, demons, but they're not from here originally. And humanity is their enemy. And essentially, it's a tough fight. It's a real tough fight. But no matter what you feel is behind all of this, we should agree that the puppets have to go first. We're going to continue on taking calls from the audience. See who else is out there. Oh, we'll just try Steven. Steven or Stefan, depending how you pronounce it if you're out there. Unmute your microphone and tell us what you think about the current propaganda out there. World War III, monkeypox. Get your vaccine. Steven, are you out there? Hold on. Not sure if we've got you activated here. All right, you should be good to go, Steven, if you're out there. Earth to Steven.
How you doing, Ron? It took a wee while to get sorted. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can. What's going on out there?
There's a lot going on, Ron, but do you know what, mate? I'm following you well, and I'm dead interested. And any more information, give me on the EMF. Now, I can blatter on about all the rest of us going on. It's fucking crazy out there. And people are going to have to fucking wise up and realise that the governments of the world are trying to kill us. And the doctors who are with us are going to have to come out and say the same thing. They're going to have to put it in layman's terms so that everybody can get a wee bit of realism and understand that we are at a death march. But you know what, Ron? The EMF that I'm going through, right? I've a wife and kids here in the house, and they're not feeling it. And I don't know how to defend myself from it. I've tried a couple of different methods, but my wife's sitting here and she could tell you, I can actually feel it when the pulsing is coming on and about to get stronger. And the headaches I get and the piercing headache I got, my wife will tell you, it still comes back on me now. Now I put a wee comment on a couple of weeks back when you were talking about it. I don't know why you've seen it. I know there's a lot there writing into you. But it was telling me that it leaves like a blistering effect on your head. It's like when you touch the area that's been cracked at. I'm not good at it. My analogy's not brilliant that way. But it leaves like a, I don't know, do you ever have like an abrasion on your arm? And it's like...
Yeah, I mean, we're getting hit with energy weapon attacks, and some are getting it worse than others. And there's a lot of telltale signs like extreme fatigue, headaches, sore throats. They target the neck, they target the head, they'll target your eyes. They try to make it seem like it's some kind of natural cause. Sometimes there can be long-lasting effects like bruises or what feels like numbness in the limbs. And so they can make it feel like you're coming down with something serious. And most people will just run to the doctor, explain what's going on. The doctor's like, we don't see anything. Maybe you're having mental health issues. Maybe it's your imagination. And worst of all, there's no 911 to call. Nobody can help you because essentially this system is out there trying to exterminate people and make it look like natural causes. And they're using microwave weapons, directed energy weapons, scalar weapons, and a lot of technology, old technology that people have never ever heard of, like gyrotrons and the like. But we've experienced just about every weapon that they have, probably, and you just can't shield enough, essentially, especially if you're feeling the extreme fatigue, you're feeling the headaches. Over the last 2 years since they activated the 5G, if you're feeling anything strange, sharp pains, then start shielding that area of your body. Basically, we recommend that people make a safe room, turn their bedroom into a safe room, put up some wire mesh or some steel mesh, staple it to the walls, put some wallpaper over it, shield under the bed. They're using extremely low frequency radiation from underground to target people while they're sleeping, as well as the death hours. So we recommend sheet metal or lead or whatever you can find under the bed. And according to the physics, it takes sometimes up to 3 to 5 millimeters of shielding to attenuate the effects. Besides that, we also recommend shielding your headboards, your footboards, around your bed, even more. And, you could probably go all in when it comes to shielding. Apply extra shielding on the roof, in the basement, and, wherever you can. We also recommend that you wear some type of personal armor when you go out in public. They like to zap people at the store. I'm not sure if anybody's been attacked while they're doing their shopping, but this is a pretty frequent strategy because they know people have to go to the store, and that's why they set up all these death towers near the stores and the schools and the like. It's not just so that you can make a phone call. It's really so that they can set up a sentry point, a choke point, and target people. And so we definitely recommend, as far as personal armor, that you protect your chest, your midsection, and your head. And so how do you do that without looking like a total buffoon is the question. And so we recommend like making a skull cap, putting it under a baseball cap. We recommend making some type of chest plate or breastplate. And we also recommend that you make it like a belt or a Faraday loop around your midsection. And this is well described in Ephesians 6:13. I mean, feels like, they were experiencing some of that 2,000 years ago. What is it is hard to say, but, advanced civilizations are probably behind it. We're going to try Joe Johnson, Gen X veteran. Want to hear from that guy. So if you're out there, Joe Johnson, go ahead and unmute your microphone and tell us what you think about the current propaganda out there. JJ, are you out there? Well, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you're out there, Joe, unmute your microphone. Can't hear you, bro. We'll try coming back to you. If you want to talk on the show, just hit tap to speak and we'll try to cruise through the listeners. We're going to try Martin out there. If you're out there, Martin, just unmute your microphone and let her rip. Tell us what you think.
Hi, Ron.
How's it going?
Good. I think you're fantastic, and your show is just, a light to the world. I just want to touch on a couple things. I have a lot to say, I guess, but I won't bore you with my reality and the fact how I escaped Canada and just kind of moved to Poland. But I want to touch base on the 5G aspect and the radiation, especially from Starlink, since pretty close to the Ukrainian border. And I like to say that when Elon Musk told the Ukrainians that he would support them and giving them Starlink access, I felt around 3 months ago, I guess, additional tiredness and fatigue, which I guess listening to you and your perspectives and everybody else that calls in, I guess made sense that this additional fatigue came once the Starlink was activated in the Ukrainian area. So I just wanted to add this additional kind of thought to your broadcast and information.
Absolutely, Martin. I appreciate you calling in. I mean, we know that there are weaponized constellations of satellites out there. Some people call them weather balloons. but we feel that the technology is pretty real. Just about everybody's seen the Starlink trains as they're basically putting a section into orbit. And it's probably not the only weaponized constellation that's out there. We highly suspect that the GPS network is weaponized as well. That's military run, and there's probably many other covert programs that are using CubeSats, basically, invisible satellites that are just floating around targeting people. And definitely they're going to be using Star Wars type, technology in this Ukraine conflict. But, is that the only thing that's targeting people right now? And when you think about it, we're really getting hit from all directions, from underground, from death towers, from consumer electronics, and from above, from these CubeSats. And essentially they're just raining down death rays on people. And of course, EMF weapons are invisible. And so you don't really know that you're getting hit until, you basically start feeling it. And you might think, what was that? Maybe it's, just me or something. But eventually when you get hit with enough of these weapons, you can start telling like which direction it came from. You can feel it like basically come in and go out, kind of like a bullet. And so you can kind of like triangulate the trajectory after you've been hit enough times with these weapons. But, how do you cope with essentially a swarm of EMF attacks from all directions? And, the best strategy is armor, because essentially, you can shield your room, you can shield your home, but I mean, that takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of work. Just shielding one room, from all directions is a lot of materials. And it's kind of inconvenient. I mean, you don't want to bring anybody in there. It's like, what's going on here exactly? And so it's pretty inconvenient to wear or to put up armor or shielding, but it's a lot easier to wear some type of EMF armor. Now, what we've discovered is that, unfortunately, these are military grade weapons, and it takes more than just, a tinfoil hat to protect yourself. You're talking about, sheet metal, wire mesh, like Faraday cage materials, and sometimes you need multiple layers depending on, the situation. If you're a high priority target that they're trying to take out and disable, then you're going to need like multiple layers to protect yourself. And so we've been, experimenting with different types of armor in this lab that we find ourselves in. And, some of it works better than others. And I think you'll adapt, once the rain starts coming down on you in your location. But it's better to start practicing now and accumulating the materials now, because you're going to need it. And some of the materials are hard to find in your local area. Like if you need sheet metal and stuff like that, sometimes it can take some time to acquire enough. And, how do you put it together and make armor that you can actually wear is another story. And so we haven't tried a lot of the fabrics, but based on what we've encountered, we doubt that it's going to have, a huge effect. Maybe when you go out shopping, but if you're a target in your home, it's not going to be enough. So you have to start thinking about all of that, but it'll come naturally. When you start feeling the sharp pains, when you start feeling the attacks, the extreme fatigue, and you know that this is the way out, then you're going to start moving in that direction. So just give it a try. If you're experiencing extreme fatigue, just put some sheet metal under your bed. Put a rug over it so nobody can see it. That makes you feel better. But get about 2 or 3 millimeters worth of sheet metal, cover, the floor under the bed, and you're going to wake up like a new person. Now, sometimes you're also going to get attacks that are coming from the sides. And usually when you start to shield, the system compensates pretty much immediately. And so you may feel good for a day or two, then all of a sudden you're going to start getting beamed from the death tower next door or from the router next door, and you're going to have to start compensating for that as well. It's like a chess match. Many people are feeling strange vibrations. We call them rumble attacks. Basically makes your body rumble or your location rumble. And this is usually from a death tower as well. And you basically have to, apply shielding. And sometimes, like we said, it takes more than one layer. So one thing that just doesn't work for sure is just like putting up like 2 or 3 layers of foil. That doesn't work very well. It's better than nothing. But for the type of weapons that you're dealing with, you basically need, some heavy duty armor to repel it. Especially if it's like coming from a white van parked outside, or, from a weapon station that's in your local area. So if you can feel the beams, if you're really a target, you're going to feel the beams coming through. And it's kind of like a hot flashlight, hitting you or something. And so you'll feel it. And when you do, you basically have to start, protecting yourselves, or you're not going to make it. And you can't be lazy about it. You can't dismiss it. Never forget if you encounter something like that. If you encounter an energy weapon attack, then take it very seriously and protect yourself, because they'll just be waiting for the opportunity to take you out. It's usually while you sleep or while you're shopping. And so if you're not wearing armor or some sort of protection at the store, you may have to, at one point in time, you may have to just drop your groceries and run out of the store. That's why we recommend a Faraday belt. That at least helps you a little bit to survive. That's really like, the basic armor that you really need when you go out, is essentially a Faraday loop around your waist. That way, if some kind of energy weapon hits you, it's more likely to go around you than really affect you at 100%. So you can make a Faraday loop out of aluminum foil or something like that. And we recommend that you tape it up on both sides. It can be like a little belt, or it can be something a little bit bigger, but essentially the idea is to protect your midsection and to have the energy go around you instead of through you. In any case, we'll have to leave it there for this broadcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Till the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the Resistance.